On the day of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, Anton says the nuclear weapon base he was serving at was put on full combat alert. Before that, we had only exercises, but on the day the war started, the weapons were fully in place. Says the former officer in the Russian nuclear forces, we were ready to launch the forces into the sea and air and in theory carry out a nuclear strike. I met Anton in a secret location outside Russia for his own protection. The BBC will not reveal where. We have also changed his name and are not showing his face. Anton was an officer at a top secret nuclear weapons facility in Russia. He has shown us documents confirming his unit, rank and base. The BBC is unable to independently verify all the events he describes, although they did not chime with Russian statement at the time. 3 days after the troops poured over Ukraine's borders, Vladimir Putin announced that Russia's nuclear deterrence forces had been ordered into a special mode of combat service. Anton says that combat alert was in place on day one of the war and claims his unit was shot inside the base. All we had was Russian state TV, says the former officer. I did not really know what it all meant. I automatically carried out my duties. We weren't fighting in the war, we were just guiding the nuclear weapons. The state of alert was cancelled, he adds, after 2 to 3 weeks. Anton's testimony offers an insight into the top secret inner workings of the nuclear forces in Russia. It is extremely rare for service members to talk to journalists. Yes, it is really rare for them to talk to you, but you might have equally offered him something to make him to give you these vital informations, because nothing goes for nothing. There's a very strict selection process there. Everyone is a professional soldier. No conscripts, he explains. There are constant checks and lie detector tests for everyone. The pay is much higher and the troops ain't sent to war. They are there to either repel or carry out a nuclear strike. The former officer said life was tightly controlled. It's normal that a president like the man in Russia wants to have a total control of his soldiers because this war has been a battle of supremacy. The former officer says life was tightly controlled. It was my responsibility to ensure the soldiers under me did not take any phones onto the nuclear base, he explains. It is a closed society. There are no strangers there. If you want your parents to visit, you need to submit a request to the FSB, Security Services, 3 months in advance. Anton was part of the base's security unit, a rapid reaction force that guided the nuclear weapons. We had constant training exercise. Our reaction time was 2 minutes, he says with a hint of pride. Russia has around 4,380 operational nuclear warheads, according to the Federation of American Scientists, but only 1,700 are deployed or ready for use. All the NATO member states combined possesses a similar number. There are also concerns about whether Putin could choose to deploy non-strategic, often called tactical nuclear weapons. These are smaller missiles that generally don't cause widespread radioactive fallout. Their use would nevertheless lead to a dangerous escalation in the war. The Kremlin has been doing all it can to test the West's nerves. Only last week, Putin ratified changes to the nuclear doctrine, the official rules dictating how and when Russia can launch nuclear weapons. The doctrine now says Russia can launch if it comes under massive attack from conventional missiles by a non-nuclear state, but with the participation or support of a nuclear state. So, you see, this war has always been about supremacy, and the current NATO American missile site launch in Poland is only going to escalate this matter. And the earlier they found long-lasting diplomatic solution to this war, the better for every parties. But we don't really see that happening under the administration of Joe Biden. Maybe, just maybe, Donald Trump might be able to find the last pieces of the puzzle and solve this puzzle once and for all and restore peace on both sides. But until then, we just watch and see and just hope that things don't seriously get out of hands, because a small provocation from any side now can even lead to a third world war. That is how far the greedy, wicked, evil, demonic politicians of this world, that is what they have turned themselves into. They have turned themselves into monsters that only seeks greed, corruption, affluence to remain in power. That's all.